right, big win. It wasn't, a work of art, but they won. Where's Steve? Super baby!
Oh, let's go! Do you have a humiliation kit? This is all I ask you to do.
I'm having a great finger flick. You're allowed to show up.
This team is ruining my life. I'm taking crazy pills.
With you, wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Victory puppies! Iggy. A lot of people, they didn't stay up to watch that, so we're going to tell them it was great the whole time. That's fine. See, you ate it in the end. That means it's great. It all worked out. I don't know. Leafs win 4-3 in the shootout in their first ever game in Utah. And some of you are just waking up to this news and you're like, hooray! Because the game was at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. Wait, was it? No, it's Tuesday now. It's Tuesday at the time I'm shooting this. This game started Monday. I'm not trying to be Toronto-centric here. It started at 8 local on a Monday. Why? Listen, Toronto Maple Leafs, all the players, you know what, coaching, video staff. I don't even care. All of you, get on the plane. Don't turn on your phone. Don't turn on any music. Don't look at each other. I don't even want to see a pack of cards. I don't want to hear beep. You get on that plane and you go to sleep. You have 2 days off in asterisk because you're flying home from Utah. I Google mapped it, not close. It's actually quite far. Don't try to walk. Thursday, they're going to be playing Florida for the first of 3 games against them that they have remaining this season. That is wild and nuts. And who planned this and what did any of us do to deserve this? But there's a really solid chance that mini-series is what decides the division in the Atlantic. That is, if the Leafs are lucky. That is, if the Leafs turn things around. Because any of you who didn't watch that game are going to be like, hey, they won. And, all right, it was in the shootout. Oh, they blew a 3-goal lead? Well, that's not the best, but it's 2025. It happens. No. That game was what the Leafs have looked like for a little while now. Bad. I know that little nearly 4-game losing streak. Obviously, the Leafs don't look good. But I know that it was on the heels of a winning streak. They weren't very good at the end of that winning streak, were they? Hey, if we're all going to be fans and followers of the process, not the greatest. In this one, hot diggity damn. They go up 3-0 and look like they're running Utah out of their own building, which was very small and depressing and quiet until it got extraordinarily loud. Do they not have seats there? It felt like everyone was standing. It started great. It's like a few games the Leafs have had recently where they start really good, really engaged, and they just lose it. Like, I just feel like we've watched enough Leafs hockey. We've seen enough of this team, this year's team, to know that this isn't how they've played all year. Now, they don't have Tanev, who I'm now convinced should make $40 million. The new guys didn't exactly have banner nights, but, they're new. I just got here. But stringing together a solid 60 minutes has been mission impossible for this team for long enough. You throw a date on it, you pick whichever one you want. Long enough. Okay, so while you were sleeping, the Leafs get a power play. We like those. Nylander grips it, rips it, and introduces the entire state to that laser beam. His 36th goal of the season gives him sole possession of second in the NHL in goals. 1-0 Leafs, that's a great start. End of the first period. Kelly Yarncroke, he's in the lineup and he's on the power play, the second unit. He gets a nice little pass from Max Domi. He's waiting in the slot, like you do. But Kelly Yarncroke with his first of the season. Welcome back. And it's 2-0 Leafs, 2 on the power play. Heading into this game, the Leafs had the 10th ranked power play in the league. So for everyone, Adam Wild, who was really mean to the Leafs power play all season, because, it was pretty bad for a while, but I kept saying it was improving, and Adam kept going, oh, it's not good enough. Guess what? Top 10 is pretty good. Top 10 up from where it was, right? That power play was the difference in that game so far. Leafs take a 2-0 lead in the first intermission. Early in the second period, first 5 minutes of the second period, you know what? Let's get unhinged. Puck comes to Simone Benoit at the point. He throws it on, and why wouldn't he? Look at all this traffic in front. Steven Lorentz with the Daryl Boyce assist, and the thing goes in! Oh, Lorentz might have got a piece of it. And if he did get a piece of it, it was definitely a high stick. And so they review it. And the review takes too long. Way too long. And they say the goal counts. No high stick. Except they also gave the goal to Lorentz, which makes no sense. And Andre Tourigny, the head coach of Utah, whatever they're going to be called, was very upset. By the way, Everyone who's like, no, Utah HC is cool. I don't think it's polite to yuck someone's yum, but you're a nerd. Oh yeah, they're the only HC in the league. Yeah, for sure. Pick a name like the rest of us. What? Anyway, they end up giving the goal to Benny because Benny's the one who scored it. Lorenz never touched it. There was a lot of analysis on the broadcast of like, oh, look at Lorenz's reaction. I don't know, he seemed happy that his team scored. I don't think it was like the smoking gun of, ooh, he touched it. Anyway, now the Leafs are up 3-0, and what the Dude, the Leafs score, hands in the air, hooray, 5-minute review to make you go to sleep. Then they go to the ref, and he's like, we have a goal. I don't know if they're gonna show that in all the highlight packs, but it's like he swallowed a bug mid telling us that it was a goal. He didn't even say a good goal. Goal. I was glad he pointed to center ice, because otherwise I was like, did he say, was that a goal? No goal? I don't know. There's kind of 12,000 people in the arena who want to know the answer. Anyway, oh, hooray, as we wake up from our review nap. Then they drop the puck. It's Benoit in the fight. Camera goes to him. First thing you see is a Simone Benoit Superman punch attempt at Michael Kesselring. But it was not like the mid-air yoga pose that Kevin Bieksa did all those years ago. It was more of a Benny hop. Look at him. Look at Benny. Both his feetsies off the ice. Looking like the blue and white Easter bunny hopping down the bunny trail to run this fade. Oh, what's in your little Easter basket? Boom! It's like 1 a.m. Shut up. Oh, sorry. It's 2. Oh, no. Well, anyway, neither guy did great in the fight. Kesselring, injured, tried to fire up his team, but injured, has to go off. Benoit, they show him in the penalty box. Shout out to Tic Tac Tomar for pointing this out. Fixes his thumb. He just kind of pulls on it and like you see it move. Anyway, the Leafs are up 3-0. And Benoit is 2/3 of his way to a Gordie Howe hat trick, like we all thought. Scores his first goal in like 90 games, I think they said. Surely this game will be normal from here on out. And dude, I think it's important to point out that even though the Leafs were up 3-0, it wasn't just that they scored goals, because sometimes you score some lucky ones, right? Or you get a few power plays and you convert on those, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you're playing better than your opponent or you're the better team. The Leafs were. They were, like, legitimately up to that point in the game, the Leafs were, like, by a pretty considerable margin. Joseph Woll, he did his thing when he was called upon, but he didn't have much to do. Then Utah, seemingly out of nowhere, erases the 3-0 deficit in less than 4 minutes. On every goal against, you try to find, like, what could they have done differently? Well, this one was on a bit of a wonky line change, but, I mean, hats off. This goal's nasty. Josh Doan to Michael Carcone, former Leaf, and it's a 3-1 game now. And you might be like, Michael Carcone was a Leaf? When was he ever a Leaf? That's the funny thing. He wasn't. Never did play a game with the Toronto Maple Leafs, but the Leafs did trade him. He was signed by the Vancouver Canucks, traded to the Leafs straight up for Josh Levo. Like, the trade is 1-for-1. And then he was actually a piece from Toronto going to Ottawa in the Connor Brown, Nikita Zaitsev, Cody Ceci trade. Anyway, it's still a 2-goal lead, and it was a really good goal. Like, honestly, they're probably not going to be able to do that again. Then the next goal was not actually, like, all that impressive of Utah. It was more impressive how bad the Leafs were. Here, do you want to see something bad? Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay, that's bad. Okay there, all right, yeah, Oli Mata has a very clear option here, and it's Sean Dursey. Just give him the puck, it's a tap-in. Wait, maybe one of John Tavares or Brandon Carlo, probably Brandon Carlo, right, will adjust and be like, oh, I don't need to be here, I should go over there. Wrong! It actually gets so much worse. There's no communication going on here whatsoever. Dursey's wide open, and that guy's a former Leaf too. Wait, when did Sean Dursey ever play for the Leaf? That's the funny thing, he didn't. Just like Michael Carcone, there's another guy who was on the Leafs payroll who they traded before he ever played a game. Leafs drafted him with a gosh darn second-round pick and then traded him to the Kings in the deal that brought Jake Muzzin to Toronto. All right, look, I'm not going to beat up Brandon Carlo here. He's 6'5", but also he's new. Like, I'm positive that's everyone's fault. It's mostly his fault, I guess, but this feels like it could have been solved by words. Like, yeah, Carlo's got to have better awareness, but like Johnny can't go, hey, I got him, go over there. Anything but what happened, man. Look at that. It's a tap-in. And all of a sudden, bang, bang, it doesn't feel like, it's still a 2-goal lead. It's a 1-goal lead, and they're going to tie this thing. No, Steve, that's the trauma. That's the trauma talking. They are not, they just did. Utah gets a power play off a, let's be honest, tripping call against Simone Benoit. There were a few penalties that the Leafs took in this game that were dumb. That wasn't one of them. That wasn't like an infraction at all. Sergachev shoots the puck through this. Yeah, anyway, good luck, Joe. Barrett Hayton gets a piece, and guess what? It's tied! I was about to say before second intermission, dude, it was like Halfway through regulation, the Leafs had a 3-goal lead for like 3.5 minutes, and in about 3.5 more minutes, they blew it. Now, there were a few mini things that happened after this, but none of them were good. Oliver Ekman-Larsson gets bumped by Logan Cooley into Karel Vejmelka, and I thought they were both cooked. I've never seen two injured players from different teams kneeling down next to each other and having what is very obviously like a pleasant conversation. Like if you look at Utah's trainer, like they're chuckling. I don't think there was any malice involved at all, but like you truck the goalie, so OEL goes to the box. But the third period comes, and the more the period goes, the more the Leafs just fade. They wilt, they melt, they whatever. And Utah goes from not doing very well at all, getting run out of their own building, to completely dominating the Leafs by the end of regulation. It was fortunate for the Leafs that they got to that point and got the point. Both of these teams need that point, by the way, for very different reasons. Leafs are trying to win the division. They kind of need to. Utah, not out of the question they can make the playoffs. Overtime is a horror show. Sometimes overtime is fun and back and forth and high octane adrenaline, and other times it is a line change contest. And that is what this was. Utah switched off 6 players while Nylander and McCabe and Domi are breathing out of every hole in their body. Don't picture it. I didn't ask, why'd you picture it? Ew. Joseph Woll, after a couple really not good games, stood on his head. Leave it to the Leafs to have a goalie blow a 3-goal lead, and he's also their MVP of the game. No, like literally he got the belt after the game. He was their MVP as decided by the players. The Leafs, after going nearly a full season without going to the shootout, now go to their second shootout in a week. And you're not going to believe this. They won. Schmaltz doesn't score, Nylander doesn't score, Cooley doesn't score, so now it's Austin Matthews. Oh, I wanted this to be the winner so bad. It was so nice. I kept hearing them say it was a changeup on the broadcast. That to me just doesn't describe it. It looked like he was just gonna rip the thing, and then it ends up like it floats in air. I wouldn't call it a changeup. It was like Matthews, it's almost like he scooped it. He just laid it into the net, like how you put a pizza in an oven? Not a frozen, like a proper one with the wood, the paddle thing. And then Clayton Keller, game on his stick for the Utah, whatever they're called. That's a nice goal. That's a nice goal from a nice player who had a nice game. And now we go to who's next. Oh, look who it is. Mitch Marner. If you listen to the Steve Dangle podcast, we talked about him at length. I'll give you a quick summary. The story coming out of the NHL trade deadline, Mitch Marner won't negotiate a contract with the Leafs mid-season, which is now. So he's not negotiating a contract. And so the Leafs said, hey, so, okay, you won't negotiate with us. And Mitch goes, that's correct. And they go, okay, well, a team has asked for you in a trade. What about a trade? And Mitch goes, no to that also. And the Leafs go, okay, I guess we'll just go talk after the season is what I mean. And a lot of people are mad at Mitch about that. And I've been prickly with Mitch at times. And I said it on the podcast, I'll say it again. Why? What are you mad at? This isn't new information. From the beginning of the season, he's like, I'm not negotiating during the season. He has a no-move clause. And we already know he's going to exercise it. There's a reason I harped on this. July 1st, 2023. Kyle Dubas had just been fired 5 or 6 weeks previous. Brad Treliving comes on board, and there is a deadline imminent. Mitch Marner, who has no trade protection, he's going to get it on July 1st. It's going to kick in. It's not just going to be trade protection. It is going to be a full no-move clause. You cannot trade him. You cannot waive him. You cannot do anything. And what do they do? The second Dubas is like, yeah, maybe I'll move off the core four. They fire him on the highway. Literally, Brendan Shanahan is like, I hate this show, and like turns the radio off and fires him. They hire a new guy. He goes, I just got here. They let July 1st arrive, and he hasn't been traded, which means his no-move clause kicks in. Fast forward, he has a no-move clause, and they're like, hey, you know that thing that you negotiated for in good faith? What if you just didn't? And Marner and his camp wisely went, no. There's nothing to be upset about. Do I wish he would at least talk to the Leafs about contract? Yeah, it'd be way easier to do business. So it's Mitch Marner's fault that they can't do business. It's Mitch Marner's fault that they can't make any progress here and he's blocking moves and stuff like that. No, Mitch has had a no-move clause in his contract that kicked in July 2023 for years. He signed that thing in 2019. You had 4 years before 2023 showed up. And a whole pandemic. Like, what were you doing? What were you doing? You had a ton of time to read, didn't you? Read the contract! July 1st hits, and he gets the thing that he asked for. Like, it kicks in. And now here we are in 2025, and he's using the thing that he asked for, and we're all acting confused. I don't get it! Anyway, he put on a really good move on Vejmelka and scored, and the Leafs won. And I bet that felt really good for him. I know it felt great for me. So clip that. Questions. Why the hell did this game start at 10 Eastern Standard Time, 8 local? I'm tired, and I'm on the West Coast. It's the Leafs! Nothing is normal! It's all weird! How good is it having a healthy Calle Jarnkrok for this team? The Calle Jarnkrok hate that was going around last season was the weirdest thing, and I didn't understand it even kind of. He's pretty much the definition of what most coaches ask for in a third line, middle six kind of player. Can he kill penalties? Yep. Can he play under power play? Yep. Can he bang in a few goals? Yep. Can he skate? Yep. Is he big? Ooh, no. That's about it. Can he play both wings? Yep. Can he play a little bit of center if you ask him nicely? Yeah. Should you? No. But can you? Yeah. And now here he is at $2.1 million, and I can't find it in me to get upset about that. He's a big addition. Imagine acquiring a guy at the deadline who's going to score like 15, like between 12 and 20 goals a season. Let's land on 16. Who can do all the things that I mentioned. He can forecheck, he can penalty kill, he can play. Dude, those guys go for like a second-round pick. Speaking of which, Nick Robertson survived the trade deadline but was scratched tonight. Where does he belong right now? Oh, that's a tough one because Jarnkrok shouldn't be on the fourth line anymore, and Berube knows that, and he, after a few games to welcome him back into the league, throws him on the second line, and look at that, he looks pretty good. Pontus Holmberg is on the fourth line. Oh boy. Like, okay, I understand the purpose of that fourth line with Holmberg and Kampf and Lorentz. There should be some offensive ability there, eh? Like, I used to say you can't play Robertson on the fourth line. The way he's played over the last, month, I don't think that's the case anymore. He's banging, he's crashing, he's making good defensive plays, he's feisty. The difference between him and Holmberg is Robertson has a vague chance of scoring against a goalie. So what's Robertson's regular role on this team? I'm not sure. There was a time where I would have said, you know what? Domi could sit a few games. But now that he's on the wing, he looks better. So if Robertson's going to play in this lineup, you either take Holmberg out, put Lorentz on the left and Robertson on the right, or you just have Lorentz and Robertson switch wings. I can't wait to see Robertson in the lineup again because he always scores his first game after a healthy scratch. And last but not least, is it just me or does Benoit seem really excited he was selected to stay over Timmins these days? You know what? Benny's always going to give you his all. I'm sure he's relieved that the trade deadline is behind him. And right now, I just want him and his teammates to sleep. What do you think? Leave a comment in the comment box down below. But for now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Utah. Now they got to worry about Utah. They beat them. But oh my God.